Okay, like I told you guys, I'm bringing in my actors now, and we're taking off from that same part. So, Maddie, go ahead.
You must be Ethan.
As she jumped down with her bundles while he reflected, looking over her slight person. She don't look much on housework, but she ain't a fretter anyhow. But it was not only that the coming to his house of a bit of a hopeful young life was like the lightning of a fire on a cold hearth. The girl was more than the bright, serviceable creature he had thought her. She had an eye to see and an ear to hear. He could show her things and tell her things and taste the bliss of feeling that all he imparted left long reverberations and echoes. He could wake at will. It was during their night walks back to the farm that he felt most intensely the sweetness of his communion. He had always been more sensitive than the people about him to the appeal of natural beauty. His unfinished studies had given form to the sensibility, and even in his unhappiest moments, field and sky spoke to him with a deep and powerful persuasion. But hitherto the emotion had remained in him as a silent ache, veiling with sadness the beauty that evoked it. He did not even know whether anyone else in the world felt as he did, or whether he was the sole victim of this mournful privilege. Then he learned that one other spirit had trembled with the same touch of wonder, that at his side, living under his roof and eating his bread, was a creature to whom he could say, "That's Orion down yonder. The big fellow to the right is Aldebaran. And the bunch of little ones, like bees swarming, they're the Pleiades." Or whom he could hold entranced before a long ledge of granite, thrusting up through the fern while he unrolled the huge panorama of the Ice Age and the long dim stretches of succeeding time. The fact that admiration for this learning mingled with Maddie's wonder at what he taught was not the least part of his pleasure. And there were other sensations, less definable but more exquisite, which drew them together with a shock of silent joy. The cold red of sunset behind winter hills, the flight of cloud flocks over slopes of golden stubble, or the intensely blue shadows of hemlocks on sunlit snow. When she said to him once,
It looks just as if it was painted.
it seemed to Ethan that the art of definition could go no farther, and that words had at last been found to utter his secret soul. We'll stop there. Like I said, when you see the ellipses, guys, those are things that have trailed off or things left unsaid. Once again, it's his secret soul. He thinks these moments that they're talking, when he's explaining to her the sky, he's really saying, "I love you." And he thinks when she answers, she's saying, "I love you" back, but it's all in his head. It's up to you guys to decide whether Maddie really does have feelings for Ethan, or is this solely lives within his brain. As he stood in the darkness outside the church, these memories came back with the poignancy of vanished things. Watching Maddie whirl down the floor from hand to hand, he wondered how he could ever have thought his dull talk interested her. Okay, so now Maddie's you over here, this area. So remember, he's outside the church, just watching her dance with others. And he says, and he starts to feel this pang of anger. That how could she not know what he felt for her? He wondered how he could ever have thought that his dull talk interested her. To him, who was never gay but in her presence, her gaiety seemed plain proof of indifference. The face she lifted to her dancers was the same, which when she saw him always looked like a window that has caught the sunset. He even noticed 2 or 3 gestures which, in his fatuity, he had thought she kept for him. A way of throwing her head back and laugh. Yes, a way of throwing her head back when she was amused, as if to taste her laugh before she let it out, and a trick of sinking her lids slowly when anything charmed or moved her. The sight made him unhappy, and his unhappiness roused his latent fears. His wife had never shown any jealousy of Maddie, but of late she had grumbled increasingly over the housework and found oblique ways of attracting attention to the girl's inefficiency. Xena had always been what Starkville called sickly, and Frome had to admit that if she were as ailing as she believed, she needed the help of a stronger arm than the one which lay so lightly in his through the night walks to the farm. Maddie had no natural turn for housekeeping, and her training had done nothing to remedy the defect. She was quick to learn, but forgetful and dreamy, and not disposed to take the matter seriously. Ethan had no idea what if she were to marry a man she was fond of, the dormant instinct would awake, and her pies and biscuits would become the pride of the country. But domesticity in the abstract did not interest her. At first she was so awkward that he could not help laughing at her, but she laughed with him, and that made them better friends. He did his best to supplement her unskilled efforts, getting up earlier than usual to light the kitchen fire, carrying the wood overnight, and neglecting the mill for the farm that he might help her about the house during the day. He even crept down on Saturday nights to scrub the kitchen floor after the women had gone to bed, and Xena one day had surprised him at the churn and had turned away slightly with one of her queer looks. Of late there had been other signs of her disfavor, as intangible but more disquieting. One cold winter morning, as he dressed in the dark, his candle flickering in the draught of the ill-fitting window, he had heard her speak from the bed behind him. Now it's going to go to me and Xena. Oh, your glasses?
That's okay.
I'll get them for you.